So he is unbreakable. Oh, hello there. Welcome back to another episode of The Movie Blues. Today on the show, I'm not gonna lie to you, we're going to cover one of the craziest pieces of content I've ever seen in my life. And that is the 2004 faux mockumentary found footage film, The Buried Secrets of M. Night Shyamalan. This was a 2-hour film that was dropped directly onto the Sci-Fi Channel in 2004, right before the release of M. Night's film, The Village. If you've never heard of this moment in M. Night history, strap in for one of the most puzzling, self-obsessed, narcissistic, and insanely misguided pieces of content ever created. This is a movie that hasn't been reprinted, it can't be found on streaming outside of rips on YouTube, and has rightfully been buried by either M. Night himself or the director of this disaster, Nathaniel Kahn, who makes a legendary ass of himself in this documentary in every way humanly possible. Now, I remember this film coming out after months of advertisements alluding to the fact that this film would expose the dark and deep secrets of M. Night Shyamalan. And whatever secrets you think those may be, you are not prepared for how tits-up ludicrous this movie actually is. You gotta remember, this was during the period of time when M. Night Shyamalan was the biggest movie director on the planet, hailed as the next Spielberg or Hitchcock. And while I love M. Night and almost every movie he's ever made...
You're wrong! I'm not a coward! You're the coward!
Okay, I said almost. Anyway, while I love M. Night Shyamalan, this has to be one of the weirdest, most self-serving, and pompous pieces of content produced in all of film history. So today on the show, I am pleased to dredge up the buried secrets of M. Night Shyamalan from the lake where it was rightfully drowned and abandoned back in 2004. So come with me, dear viewer, to break down this absolute cringe classic. So Chapter 1 begins, and we're introduced to real-life director and documentarian Nathaniel Kahn, the night before he's due to be given unrestricted access to M. Night Shyamalan for an exclusive interview. Anyway, right from the jump, they're deifying M. Night Shyamalan like he's fucking Willy Wonka or something.
I guess we get to go see, we get to see Night tomorrow.
We got unprecedented access to this guy. Night just apparently does not give interviews.
The notoriously secretive director.
I never expected to have so much in common.
Night just apparently does not give interviews.
To be clear, this is the first case of extreme gaslighting in this motion picture, because coming off of the popularity of Signs, Unbreakable, and The Sixth Sense, M. Night had already given more interviews than the two stick figures from Wicked.
I didn't know that was happening.
I've seen it, yeah.
That's really powerful.
Nathaniel and his film crew travel to Chester County, PA, where they plan to interview Night on the set of his new film, The Village. After being weirdly shook down by security, Nathaniel meets up with publicist Ilana to go over some ground rules.
Before we go down, there's just a couple of ground rules that are important for you guys to follow. The most important thing is not to make eye contact with Night. Until I introduce you, I don't want you to approach Night. We have a very clear communication. I'll be able to tell when it's cool for you to go over, and I'll just make everything run a lot more smoothly.
So, okay. I think they're trying to lay out ground rules for M. Night like he's a goddamn mogwai purchased from a Chinese voodoo store. When in actuality, this, like many other things in the film, just kind of make M. Night look like a pompous dick. Nathaniel chats with Brick Mason, the real-life storyboardist from M. Night's movies. And for a guy who just got hosed down by security, Nathaniel is really ready to jump straight into the deep end in terms of questions you can get fucking sued over.
Can you tell me anything more about, is there anything that happens, is it like The Sixth Sense, or is there a surprise ending, or?
Well,
First of all, of course he's not going to answer that.
I hate to spoil it, I don't want to spoil it for you.
Second of all, nah, Nathaniel. M. Night is making a mysterious movie about monsters in the woods of a creepy town in 1897, and there isn't going to be a twist in it. Yeah, no, you nailed it. Christ, who is he asking this question for?
Well,
He isn't going to be able to publish this if the guy says that there is a twist. This guy is, of course, not going to tell Nathaniel whether or not there is a twist to begin with.
It's better if you know nothing about it.
And, again, of course there is a twist, you absolute knob.
I don't want to spoil it for you. You'll recognize him in the sense, it's like The Sixth Sense in that. It's very Night.
And I don't know if this movie is just gaslighting us into thinking that Night is cool, but this movie severely wants you to know that everybody in Night's circle calls him Night and not Minogue. So you better be ready to start calling this dude Night, because he is the Night.
It's very Night.
So Ilana regrets to inform Nathaniel that he can meet Night today, but the cameras can't come because reasons.
Just things are a little crazy on the set. I can't go into it. So no cameras. I'm sorry.
So, of course, they just keep filming it anyway from afar, and as Nathaniel talks to Knight, this is the first time we hear a strange audio interference.
Hi, nice.
How are you?
Hey.
Hey, I like your duck.
Yeah, terrific.
You think it sounds like crap too?
It doesn't sound like crap at all! I think it's awesome!
Yeah, they are inferring that M. Night Shyamalan, his very presence, creates audio interference on camera. So I'm sure him being a film director, this has not come up before while he's working, or in any of the scenes of his movies where he's actually on screen acting, being filmed by a camera and recorded by a microphone. That night, Nathaniel returns to his hotel room to review his pre-approved questions for the interview. And I guess he's staying in downtown Philadelphia, which makes zero sense because the set of The Village is like 40 minutes away from this location. And there's tons of hotels in between, but like, I don't know, Philly looks cooler than a Motel 6 or whatever, so here we are in Nathaniel's downtown penthouse.
Why do you choose to stay in Philadelphia? Good question.
Yeah, good question. Not for Knight, for Nathaniel. Literally, why are you staying in Philadelphia? Nathaniel's questions for M. Night are prepared for him by Alana, but as he reads them, it just accidentally turns into a highlight reel for how incredible M. Night is.
What is it like to be so successful so young? How do you get such good performances from your actors?
Jesus Christ, I thought his role as the last writer on Earth in Lady in the Water was an epic wank-off. Somehow, this tops it. The next day, Nathaniel decides to go to M. Night's house. Uninvited. Not sure why he's already low-key investigating this man, but yeah. When he pulls up to Knight's mansion, we meet a group of edgy teens who are quite literally camped outside of Knight's compound.
Hey, guys. How you doing? You know whose house this is? Anyway, we're doing a documentary about him. Would it be okay if I come over and talk to you for a few minutes?
And yeah, these are M. Night diehards, waiting for their Lord and Savior to grace them with his mysterious presence. And you know they're Night fans because they're all wearing sketchy hoodies. Ah, the hoodie. The mystery box clothing item of angsty early 2000s white rage.
He understands why we're here. I mean, you don't know about M. Night?
Don't do it. I don't know what about him. He's a filmmaker, Hollywood A-list.
And now, the buried secret of M. Night Shyamalan begins to be unburied by a bunch of kids whose moms probably have over $1,000 each in Kohl's cash.
Everyone knows.
Everyone knows what?
Well, M. Night's connected to the other side. I can prove it if you want.
So Nathaniel goes to a random teen's basement to learn more about M. Night's connection to the other side. The teen busts out a Ouija board and tells Nathaniel to ask the spirits any question that he wants.
Are there any spirits in the room with a connection to a man named Knight?
My God. Wow. Okay. First of all, this is the second day of commissioned filming on this M. Night Shyamalan interview project for Nathaniel, and he is in a teen's basement using a Ouija board, asking for M. Night Shyamalan's IMDb Pro connections to the undead. Okay, who is paying for this day of production? Who is going to be watching the dailies from this? How are you going to write off expenditures from this day? I mean, did you literally have nothing planned on the first full day of production on your movie? What the hell are you doing, Nathaniel? So the teen tells Nathaniel to dead name Knight to see if the spirits know his true name, and
Use his other name. M.
Are there any spirits in the room with a connection to a man named Manoj?
I mean, I think that Knight was honestly more specific. There could be any number of spirits attached to a person named Manoj. It could be this guy.
Are there any spirits in the room with a connection to a man named Manoj?
Hello, how are you? I am under the water. Please help me.
Anyway, by even knowing this trick, this scene kind of implies that at some point, this teen went out and bought a Ouija board specifically to ask it questions about M. Night Shyamalan. I just wanted to get that straight.
Sensational.
Day 2 kicks off, and it's time to finally interview M. Night himself. Because he's bad at secrets, bad at interviewing, and bad at making a documentary, Nathaniel instantly tells Knight that he was outside of his house creeping around with his teenage fan club.
We went by your house the other day, and we saw that there are these kids hanging out there. I sort of talked to one of them in particular.
Oh my God, bro.
Oh, hell no. I have a belief that you're not just making good stories, but that you're actually connected to the other side.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
After Night storms off, Alana comes in and scolds the crew for their mysterious meddling.
What just happened?
What do you mean, what just happened?
We went over all those questions really
Right.
clearly.
Right.
Knight is really upset right now. To his house, violating his privacy like that? What were you thinking?
I'm sorry. I didn't know.
Can you get out of here?
Clearly, Nathaniel is getting too close to the truth.
It's Mark Stern calling from Sci-Fi. I heard there were some problems out on the set the other day. A little concerned about it. You know, we don't want to piss off Knight. I guess Knight got a little disturbed about stuff. We got a call from his publicist.
And this shit is crazy. In this movie so far, M. Night has come off as completely unapproachable, and then entirely shady, and at last, like a sensitive little bitch. What image did M. Night think that he was projecting of himself when he made this movie? I don't know. I can't answer that question. The gang goes back to the hotel to, I don't know, watch M. Night's movies and compliment them.
This is great. You don't see the alien for like an hour.
You don't see the shark in Jaws.
That's good.
I mean, I love Signs, but comparing it to Jaws is like comparing Jojo Siwa to David Bowie. And I am getting so tired in this movie already of it just feeding you loaded compliments about M. Night Shyamalan, stated as if they're complete facts. Like, we get it. He is a mysterious and unknowable genius, whose every movie is a lyrical poem crafted by a milk chocolate-skinned prophet. Yep, Signs equals Jaws. Duh, got it. Instead of finally just doing his goddamn job, Nathaniel returns to the teen's house. And yeah, this is personally my favorite scene in the movie, where Nathaniel and Teen log on to a secret, fans-only M. Night message board.
What is this?
Well, this is where people all over the world who are fans of M. Night can be connected here.
But first, they must crack a firewall of Night trivia.
What is M. Night Shyamalan's first name? What was M. Night's intended profession? Where was M. Night born?
Where were the other drugs going?
Which film was a major influence for Signs? Where did Night attend university?
Who was Kaiser Soze?
What was M. Night's intended profession? Which number has particular significance to Night?
How can you be on the council and not be a master?
All right, you're in.
All right. Any good night stories? What's with the numbers? I see I'm 1, True Fan 3, Raven 5.
And you are not prepared for what the numbers on the handles of the secret M. Night fan club correlate to. It's too edgy and too cringe and too hilarious to even bear.
The numbers, they show like your level of how deep you go.
Well, what are you?
I'm a 3.
To even deliver this explanation as an actor to another actor straight-faced is a heroic feat.
Of how deep you go. I'm a 3. Of how deep you go. I'm a 3.
They show like your level.
They show like your level.
I'm a 3.
Of how deep you go. Of how deep you go. I'm a 3.
They show like your level.
They show like your level.
I'm a 3.
So anyway, they begin to communicate with a level 5 Night fan.
He's actually the only 5 like I've ever met.
And he's instantly reading Nathaniel's mind.
How does he know this?
And dude, Nathaniel's response to the psychic M. Night fan guessing his shirt color is golden.
What are you wearing?
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
He's gone. He left.
Next, we cut to an interview with Deepak Chopra about how M. Night can glimpse other dimensions.
There's a ring of authenticity to what he shows in his movies as someone who's actually glimpsed alternate realities.
A self-help author and guru who's built his career on helpful honesty with his clients and the world, puffing up M. Night Shyamalan as an interdimensional voodoo genie. So Nathaniel somehow has the budget to now just go around interviewing various spiritual and historic experts about M. Night's potential supernatural abilities. It's so fucking nuts.
They may be called shamans, they may be called seers, witch doctors,
priests or knowers, visionaries, filmmakers. They're in a way a kind of shaman for the modern society.
This is seriously like an Ancient Aliens episode. Hold on.
And I think that probably one of the characteristics of the shaman is that they are closer to the experience of danger than some of the rest of us.
So these shamans and seers, are they protected?
They are protected, but they're also susceptible to danger. The line between the healer and the sorcerer is a thin one. And if circumstances are problematic, that very person that is revered and seen as a healer and visionary can come under attack.
So the gang heads to M. Night's former elementary school, where the buried secret of M. Night Shyamalan becomes roughly 13.9% more unburied. And I guess that young Knight exhibited some rather familiar gifts.
And I don't really ever remember him being late. I don't really ever remember him having to call home sick.
Never sick.
Not that I remember, no.
His second movie, Unbreakable, the character has never been sick.
Really?
Oh my God!
Did he have friends?
He spoke a lot about one little boy, Henry. This is Henry.
Bruh, look at this dude. Wait till you see the... No. Look at the top of his head.
Nathaniel and his crew continue to stalk, harangue, and harass literally anyone who's ever had any kind of personal connection to M. Night Shyamalan in the state of Pennsylvania. This leads to an interview with a high school friend of Knight's, who drops a solid Knight trivia nugget / Chekhov's gun into the mix.
There was another actor that was considered for Signs. You probably know about that, though, right?
No, I haven't heard that. What happened?
Well, there was a problem, but I mean, I can't get into it. I really can't. I shouldn't have said what I said. Sorry, I'm gonna have to catch this train, okay?
So Nathaniel returns to the M. Night 4chan board to get some answers. And he quickly finds out the identity of the mysterious actor who is supposed to play Mel Gibson's character in Signs. So Nathaniel calls his friend who knows Johnny Depp's aunt. And lo and behold, Nathaniel flies to California in the middle of the documentary to meet a certain superstar celebrity.
Hi, hey. Oh, wow, camera. Yeah, is that okay? Is it on?
In the interview with Johnny, Depp seems honestly pretty freaked out. And that's a lot coming from a guy who's probably eaten a cooked cat in an ayahuasca tent with Tim Burton in Transylvania.
It was about the strangest thing I've ever been through.
Depp uncomfortably recalls that he was coached by Knight's team to memorize a series of code phrases for security and secrecy's sake.
You know, they wanted me to sign all these papers, promises not to speak about Knight and his world and all that stuff, and they had these quotes that I was to memorize if I was asked anything, responses basically that I was supposed to give if I was asked questions.
Do you remember them? What they were? Or?
One of them I remember because it was so goofy. It was all people have secrets. Life would be boring without secrets, don't you think? And I remember because it had that question at the end, don't you think?
The phrase is gonna come back later. No joke here, just it's coming back. You won't have to remember it long because instant reincorporation is on the way. Anyway, then Johnny drops a nuclear bomb of based advice for anyone who had anything to do with making this movie, starring in it, directing it, writing it, and beyond. This one's for everyone standing outside of M. Night's house, everybody deifying him in the early 2000s.
I don't know what he's up to, you know. I don't think anybody does, but it's not worth it. It's only cinema, you know. It's only movies, man. Just have a good time. Step outside once in a while. Go get a donut.
Nathaniel once again spends thousands of dollars flying his entire crew back across the country to Pennsylvania, this time to interview Adrian Brody about his character in The Village. Yeah, that character.
With more of a mental disability, a learning disability, I did a lot of research. I spent time with this lovely woman who had a facility in Los Angeles and took care of these kids, and I did acting workshops with them, which was amazing. And what I understood and then went back to Knight with was that, you know, children and young adults who suffer from some learning disability are so sweet. They haven't become hardened like we have. They don't comprehend it enough. It's just like having a very rational discussion with a child.
Anyway, Adrian Brody begins babbling his way into the secret code phrases Depp told Nathaniel about.
He's very secretive.
All people have secrets, you know. Life would be boring without secrets, don't you think?
Whoa, whoa. Here I come. Oh, here I come. Oh.
And as if the direct 1-2 punch of these scenes and their immediate payoffs aren't on the nose enough, the next scene is, of course, Nathaniel comparing the footage for those out there who cannot add 1 and 1 and logically get to the endpoint of 2.
All people have secrets. Life would be boring without secrets.
Whoa, whoa. Here I come. Oh, here I come. Oh.
All people have secrets, you know. Life would be boring without secrets.
Whoa. Here I come. Oh, here I come. Oh.
Next up is a 15-minute scene where Nathaniel and Knight have a night out on the town where they're not allowed to talk shop, aka there will be no plot development.
It's very nice. Cool. He's a director of The Sixth Sense, Signs.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Unbreakable.
Those movies, right?
I don't give a fuck.
That is until M. Night takes a Polaroid with a fan, and it turns out that he doesn't really show up in photos. He's like an Indian Nosferatu, which, again, is ludicrous. The man had been photographed 60,000 fucking times at this point in his career. The next day, Nathaniel and his crew hunt down another former classmate of Knight's from high school, who, once again, has a bunch of things she's not supposed to say about him because spooky reasons.
There's this place actually about 45 minutes or so from his parents' house. There was woods and there was a pond, and it was an important place for him, so we...
Really? Why?
I don't know actually if I should talk about it. He fell through the ice of the pond and almost drowned and then was rescued. What happened that day really kind of marked him in a way. Actually gave me the watch. He was wearing a watch when it happened. That way.
You'd be damned if any slope's gonna put the greasy yellow hands on his boy's birthright, so he hid it. In one place he knew he could hide something, his ass.
From here, we launch into another hard-to-bear 15 minutes of Nathaniel investigating the pond drowning, which apparently has taken many victims before and is cursed by a witch and is the site of cult rituals and all sorts of shit. My God.
He said he saw things, and he said he saw people that he had known who had died.
He saw dead people. He sees dead people. He died for 35 minutes and then came back to life. From here, Nathaniel and his shit film descend into so much time-wasting garbage nonsense. I mean, we got fucking Chalk Mool here doing voodoo maraca hexes and rolling fucking clams onto M. Night's head.
Because the spirits will wake him up certain times of night. I believe you have a pencil and pad right by his bed every night.
That's not the accent I was expecting from the voodoo shaman. I was thinking more like...
What are you talking about? You can't see the eyes of the demon until him come calling. He sees spirits. And he won't admit it, but he sees spirits.
This does, however, lead to one of the most shocking and hilarious revelations in the whole movie, where we find out that M. Night is a reincarnated shaman who has ties to the grounds of Pennsylvania where he was reincarnated, which is why he needs to film all of his movies in Philly and can't leave. And in case you're not following, don't worry. Nathaniel is going to directly narrate the highlight reel as this revelation comes to light. Quite literally.
It was considered bad luck for the Santero himself to travel or to leave the community, as his power was believed to be local in nature.
So the day of the final interview finally comes around as snow falls over the set of The Village. Nathaniel, who has all the subtlety of a teenage girl with Tourette's waiting in line at the airport...
Your dad has a vagina. I have a gun.
decides that he should just confront Knight with all of the secrets that he's unburied so far.
Listen, Knight, the thing is, we know why you've hidden that house. We know about the drowning. And Henry.
Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man?
Your movies aren't fiction, Knight. They're autobiography.
What are you doing?
And Yeah, no shit, he got fired. Bro has literally been begging for this. Nathaniel just listlessly wanders the street of Philadelphia like a confused, blacked-out Eagles fan.
What does the screen say?
Michael.
Is that your name?
No.
No, it's not your fucking car.
You're in the wrong car. I'm sorry. I know you're sorry.
Sir, could I talk to you for a second? You guys have a minute to talk to us about the supernatural. Do you think spirits exist? Do you think ghosts exist? Do you believe in those things? These are the answers I want. I believe we have other lives. Believe in the supernatural. Something beyond just what's...
This man is coming off like a fent addict looking for his next hit. If you're seeking that kind of high, Nathaniel, just go a couple blocks down to Kensington. That's a much safer place to blast off on trank than City Hall. And so the movie wraps up with Nathaniel's stuff being thrown out of his hotel after his firing. And they want you to feel a certain type of way for this guy, but I would have fired his ass too. Give me a job at the goddamn Sci-Fi Channel. I'll do anything those people ask for. This guy is a spoiled, entitled idiot, and I hope they gave all of his bags to a homeless shelter. Finally, the epilogue of this unending mess picks up 2 months later. And somehow they're still letting Nathaniel edit this thing and sit around in the editing bay like rambling about crows. He's starting to sound like one of those maniacs that thinks that all birds are government drones.
Think about all the crows we kept seeing and how crows always show up in mythology, associated with the trickster or death or protection. Here we go with crow number 1.
This is so goddamn stupid. So the movie ends with the Sci-Fi Channel somehow just changing their minds and promising Nathaniel that they'll air his psychotic piece of stalking, loaded to the brim with wild conjecture, on their channel.
We're going to air it.
And so they somehow once again convince Knight to do a final interview with Bozo Nathaniel and the Scooby-Doo gang. And so Knight ghosts him.
Can you give me 15 more minutes? Just hang in there a little longer, okay?
And that's it, people. That's the buried secrets of M. Night Shyamalan. Now, this movie really feels like a DVD extra escaped from hell and put a 2-hour hex on me and my entire family while I suffered through it. This is a bad mockumentary, a bad found footage film, but kind of a good, like, meta moment in history to point and laugh at, like a terrible, terrible car wreck of pop culture nonsense. This movie is so goddamn serious and so up its own ass the entire runtime about how self-important just everything in it is. It accidentally makes the Sci-Fi Channel look like a bunch of assholes. It definitely makes Nathaniel Kahn look like a bumbling doofus. And it makes M. Night Shyamalan seem not mysterious and powerful, but weak and extremely insecure and spiraling out of control in his career. And honestly, once The Village came out, that was really it for my man for many years afterwards. And I think he probably gassed himself up a little too high in his own supply with this one. He didn't direct it, he didn't write it, but I can only imagine that M. Night was standing over whoever did's shoulder, just dictating his absolute genius to them, as if he were writing the newest version of the Testament. If you want to watch this movie, again, it's 2 hours long. There is so much in it that I did not report to you in this video because it is absolutely useless. Interviews that go on seemingly forever with random people, even on the street and beyond, in cheesesteak parlors and barbershops, about their thoughts about ghosts and mummies and shit that has absolutely no bearing on the plot of the film. And that's it, folks. That's the wrap for today. I will be seeing you on the next episode of the Movie Blues. Once again, this is DS Lyons, and bye!
Because I love you, and I love you, and I love you, and I've seen all your movies, and I love your movies, and I think you're the best.